Hey, what's up, fight fans? My name's Jason, and I'm a reporter for Real Combat Media. So for all your combat news, go visit realcombatmedia.com. Now, this week we had 4 fights. 3 of them were championship fights, meaning we had belts on the line. The first fight was Golovkin versus Brook. Gennady Golovkin was at 160 pounds, and that's where the fight took place. And Gennady was under a lot of scrutiny because he picked Kell Brook, which was 2 divisions under at 147 pounds. So everybody going into this fight thought that Kell Brook was going to get knocked out, and that's what's happened. Now, a couple things that we learned from this fight was that Gennady Golovkin can be hurt. Before this fight, it was like Golovkin was this invincible monster at middleweight who would destroy anybody who got in his way. But now after this fight with Kell Brook, it does look like he's vulnerable. It does look like he has a chink in his armor, because there were several times in this fight where it looked like Golovkin was real hurt. But on the other hand, from the first round, it was obvious that Kell Brook was in the wrong weight division because he was getting hurt real bad. In the 4th round, Brook was taking a lot of shots, but you could tell that he had a good chin. And then in the 5th round, Brook was taking a lot of shots by Golovkin, and Brook's corner thought he had too much, so they threw in the towel. At that point, it looks like very suspicious. Like, why did they stop the fight? It looked like Kell Brook could have kept on going on. It looked like he shouldn't have stopped the fight. But after the fight, it turns out that Kell Brook's right eye was the eye socket, was broken in the 2nd round, and he couldn't see out of that eye. So looking at it from the trainer's perspective, you don't want Kell Brook to have a messed up eye like Margarito and not be able to fight good, or Israel Vasquez, where after his career he went blind. So I feel like Kell Brook's trainer made a good decision with taking him out of there before more damage could be done. Also at middleweight was another fight, which was Daniel Jacobs versus Sergio Mora on Premier Boxing Champions. This was a rematch between the 2 fighters. The first fight ended in TKO. Sergio lost the fight, and he felt like he deserved another chance, and Daniel Jacobs gave him the second chance. Now, both these fighters are very technically sound, but the difference was that Jacob was stronger. And then you could tell as the fight went on that Mora was feeling this power. In the 4th round, Jacobs knocked down Mora, but it was like a weird punch, and I don't know if it was because Mora had a bad stance or if because he got punched. And the same thing happened in the 5th round, where Sergio Mora got knocked down again, but it was another weird punch, and it was like, but they did count it as knockdowns. Then in the 7th was the first legit knockdown, for me anyways, where you saw Daniel Jacobs punch Sergio Mora. Sergio Mora ended up going down 3 times, after the 3rd time, the ref called the fight and the corner threw in the towel at the same time. So what's next for Daniel Jacobs? Golovkin just won his fight. Daniel Jacobs just won his fight, and they're both at middleweight. I think that they should fight. Daniel Jacobs is Gennady Golovkin's mandatory. So if the fight doesn't happen for whatever reason, for example, negotiations, they will go to a purse bid. And if that doesn't happen, they could look for other opponents. But right now, I think that's the best fight for both of them. Golovkin, on the other hand, if he doesn't take the Jacobs fight, he can go for the other champion at middleweight, which is Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders did express that he wanted to fight Golovkin, but he's also said that in the past, but when it came down to negotiations, he's nowhere to be found. Also on HBO, across the world, a little bit later in the day, was Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez versus Carlos Cuadras. Roman Chocolatito was a champion at 112 pounds, but he moved up a division to 115 pounds to challenge the WBC champion at that weight, who happened to be Carlos Cuadras. Now, this fight was very even. At times, I'm like, man, I don't know who won that round. It really came down to quantity versus quality. Cuadras was the faster puncher, and I feel like sometimes he would throw more punches than Chocolatito. Versus Chocolatito, the punches he threw were a little sharper and a little, they looked like they hurt more. And that's really what it came down to. At the end of the fight, I didn't know who won, and it was basically up to the judges and how they saw the fight. The judges scored it unanimously for Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, and now it's like, who does Chocolatito fight next? Well, at the fight, there was a fighter by the name of Naoya Inoue. I believe that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not completely sure. He's the WBO champion at 115 pounds. So it looks like that fight is gonna be made. Naoya Inoue was at the fight, so he was looking to fight one of the two, or scouting for his next fight. And I feel like that's a good fight for Chocolatito. Or let's say he doesn't take that fight, he could go, do something crazy and move up another weight division to 118 pounds and challenge the WBC champion at that weight. But who knows? On the undercard of Chocolatito versus Cuadras was Yoshihiro Kamagai versus Jesus Carras. This fight was a slugfest. The two fighters were slugging it out the whole fight, but there was one difference. Kamagai was able to hurt Carras, and Carras couldn't return the favor. In the 8th round, Carras was knocked down and wasn't looking too enthusiastic to get up. After the 8th round, Carras went to his corner, and his coaches decided to stop the fight. Yoshihiro Kamagai won the fight by technical knockout and will most likely to go on to fight more wars. As for Carras, it looks like he'll be retiring. Carras had mentioned that he was thinking about retirement before, so what better time now, But that's all I have for this week. Thank you for listening to The Boxing Blaze. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you guys think, and go check out the Real Combat Media page too. Please subscribe, comment on their page. Thanks, guys. See you next time.